Okay, so this is the first mini lecture of chapter 19, where we're going to continue our discussion with the cardiovascular system, but this time we're going to focus on the blood vessels and not the heart. So if we're talking about blood vessels, this is a closed delivery system that begins and ends with the heart. The blood vessels do work in conjunction with our lymphatic system to help circulate fluids. We have three major types of blood vessels: arteries, capillaries, and veins. If we're talking about arteries, if you remember from our last lecture, that arteries aren't defined by the level of oxygen within the blood that they're carrying, but rather the direction in which they're carrying the blood. So arteries are always going to be carrying blood away from the heart. For veins, veins are going to always be carrying blood towards the heart. We had two different major circulations that we were talking about before. If we're talking about our systemic circulation, which is basically our blood flow to and from our heart to the tissues, we're talking about arteries carrying heavily oxygenated blood to the tissues, veins carrying low-level oxygenated blood back to the heart. The reverse is true if we're talking about pulmonary circulation, in which we're taking blood to and from the lungs, so from the heart to the lungs and to the back. In that case, our arteries would be carrying low-level oxygenated blood, and then our veins would be carrying heavily oxygenated blood back towards the heart. So this is just an illustration showing you the venous system versus the arterial system. We can also see how it works in conjunction with our lymphatic system right here. I forgot to mention the capillaries. So the capillaries are the blood vessels that are actually in direct contact with the tissue cells. So this is where we're going to actually have gas exchange occur. So where we're going to be dropping off oxygen and picking up the waste product or carbon dioxide from these tissue cells. So the structure of the blood vessel wall is fairly similar among the three types of blood vessels we have. So they pretty much all consist of three basic layers. The tunica intima. This is going to be our innermost layer. Superficial to that, we would have the tunica media, and then the outermost layer is the tunica externa. If we look down here at the capillary, it is an endothelium and it has sparse basal lamina, and we can see our endothelial cells right there. Okay, so let's focus now on the innermost layer, or the tunica intima. So what this is really just endothelium. And if you remember from AMP1, the endothelium is just simple squamous epithelium that's basically lining the lumen of all of the blood vessels. It is continuous with the endocardial lining of the heart. The tunica media, or the middle layer that we have, this is mostly composed of smooth muscle and some sheets of elastin. The sympathetic vasomotor nerve fibers also innervate this layer, which help control the blood vessel vasoconstriction or vasodilation. If we're talking about vasoconstriction, we're talking about decreasing the diameter of the lumen when the smooth muscle contracts. Or if we're talking about vasodilation, we're talking about increasing the diameter of the lumen as the smooth muscle is going to relax. So our outermost layers are tunica externa. This is predominantly just collagen fibers, and the purpose of this layer is really for protection and to help reinforce the vessel itself, also to help anchor it to its surrounding structures. This layer is going to have nerve fibers, lymphatic vessels, in some of the larger veins, and some elastic fibers in there as well. We have what's called the vasa vasorum, and this literally means vessels of vessels. So this pretty much nourishes the more external tissues of the blood vessel wall. So here's just a summary. For now, I just want you to get a general idea of what they look like. You don't need to know any specific diameters or thicknesses of these. Just kind of understand the 3 blood vessel types that we have. And then we're going to add to more of these details as we continue with these lectures.